Good morning. All settled down? So officially, sir, a hearty welcome to KTR Garu, Sri Jayesh Garu, and CEO of Mphasis, Nitin. As always, keep telling Nitin, every time we meet Mr. K.T. Ramarao and Jayesh, it's always a great pleasure. The kind of energy that infuses and the kind of enthusiasm and encouragement that gives for industry is probably something that we normally don't see in the corporate circles when we go to other states, and it's fantastic. And more importantly, मैं Hyderabad में, मैं Hyderabad में का रहने वाला हूँ, 30 साल पहले छोड़ के चला गया. So it's always a great thing to come back to Hyderabad. You can take a person out of Hyderabad, but you can't take Hyderabad out of a person. So that's me. And it's always a great thing for me to come back and see the company growing here in Hyderabad. And a small anecdote, just a year back, I met Shri KTR Garu in a NASSCOM meeting. And he did mention that, you guys are all over the country and why don't you come to Hyderabad? And he just informally told me that give me a call and whatever you want, we're going to set it up for you. And here we are, sir, within 1 year, keeping up for the promise. And look forward to more and more growth. And just the last half an hour, we were talking to Mr. Ramarao, how he can help us, help in building the skills, the skill ecosystem, apart from the infrastructure ecosystem. And we look forward to growing here in Hyderabad. And thank you very much. Welcome once again, sir. Can we have a few words from you? Thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Again, thank you for being here. So really honored to have you inaugurate the center. What I thought I'll do is take a few minutes and give you a quick update on the company, how we have evolved as a business over the last 2 or 3 years, and what our areas of focus are as we go forward over the next couple of years. So to that effect, I'm going to run a small presentation as soon as we can get it up. So as you can see, the company has actually evolved over the last 22, 23 years and come a long way. We are at this point globally about 26,000 employees. 80% of the business is originated from the US, but 12% Europe, and the rest of the world contributes about 7-8% of the business. Very large focus on financial services, banking, insurance, and we are now starting to see some of that play out in other industries like logistics and travel, high tech as well. As you all know, for about 10 years, we were majority owned by EDS and HP. Since 2016, in just about 3 years ago, that ownership control moved to Blackstone Private Equity. Blackstone is the world's largest PE fund, and really became a long-term growth partner for us in helping us, bring the company back to growth. And I'll show you a little bit about how the financial performance has been. What we've also seen with Blackstone is access to a lot of new business, the network effect, as we call it. Blackstone owns 100 other companies in their portfolio, and we managed to find ways to do business with them. They're also one of the largest players in financial services, so that helps expand our FOCO business with financial services clients as well. I think we made a major shift and pivot towards cloud and cognitive about 3 years ago, and that is paying rich dividends to us today because our entire strategy is actually linked to those things. We've been, as you can see, we're fairly widespread out. We are well above $1 billion in revenue, about 1.1, 1.2 billion as we speak. Our growth has been fairly strong last 2 years. We grew almost 15% last year in revenue terms, and about 30% in EPS terms. So I think it's been a good, strong performance over the last 2.5 years for us. And the reason is very simple. We think we have, this is the financial performance. As you can see, this is our quarterly revenue chart. The dotted line is where we had change in control from HP to Blackstone. And as you can see, with a strong, long-term focused, growth-oriented shareholder, I think that message starts to percolate down to the performance of the company as well. I've been here a little less than 3 years, so about a quarter after the change in control happened. So I personally, witnessed the transformation in our business, in our client base, in our employees, and of course the cultural transformation that our clients are embracing as well with technology. In a very simplistic term, we are making it fashionable to be a tech business. Right? So our mantra is bring the T back into IT, which means lead with deep technology, because almost every client that we deal with is dealing with disruption that is being forced upon them by none other than their own consumers, because the consumer expectations have shifted. They want a great experience. They want a personalized service. They want it at their time, their terms. The concept of anytime banking is not just ATMs anymore. The concept of anytime banking is I want to deal with the bank and my terms from the convenience of my device, and don't tell me that your systems are down because you're doing something different. So I think that is a massive shift and transformation that our customers need. So the foundation of everything we're doing is now the core technology foundation. We found 7 or 8 distinct areas to focus on. For example, we call it the need for speed. Almost every business wants to go faster. They want to launch product in short time frames. They want to service customer in a shorter time frame. Nobody has 6-9 months to wait to launch a new product, because by then the market may move again. So this need for speed kind of goes towards how do you write code faster, how do you deploy code faster, how do you launch product quicker, how do you maintain systems better, how do you have less downtime, how do you have higher turnaround times, lower turnaround times and higher availabilities. And then you contextualize those capabilities with the business knowledge. Right? If I'm going to a bank, it's not enough for me to say I'm an expert in cloud or cognitive. I have to find it meaningful for them to be able to say how can they apply it to their business. So the combination of industry knowledge and technology is the other element of the T that we talk about. And this has really become a fairly differentiated capability from Mphasis, and that's the reason why we are starting to see growth that is fairly aggressive. We call it front to back transformation. Put the customer in the middle of the transformation, not the back office. So the business model is pivoting from being back office driven, core systems driven, to being consumer driven. So if you look at the consumer that sits right here, everything must start and end with the consumer. If you can't shift your model to be consumer centric, then you're going to start losing customers. And no, by the way, while you do that, you also can't let go of the fact that you've invested 25, 30, 40 years of technology and core systems. And how do you transform them is the second element, which is service transformation. Take what you have, transform it. It's like changing the wheels of a moving car. You don't have the luxury to stop the car like we normally do if it's a car, because in these cases, the business has to be running as well. So I think this is kind of the area of specialization. This is our secret sauce. This required us to change, and the way we've changed is on these 3 fronts. First, we had to be much more tech enabled. We had to build a lot of platforms and IP. And we took cognitive and cloud as the 2 core areas. We set up a lab called Next Labs 3 years ago. Next Labs is now extended from Bangalore to France to San Jose. We will extend that to Hyderabad as well, as we were just talking about it. And this is kind of our skunk works. This does all the R&D that we eventually deploy into our services. We're not building products, but we're building platforms that we can deploy to deliver services. Second big transformation is the way we deal with clients has to change. Our industry was formed on 2 core theses. 1, ability to bring talent. 2, ability to solve problems. I call them necessary but not sufficient conditions to be relevant today. If I don't have the ability to help my client define the right problem to solve, they may be solving the wrong problem, and hence they may be making a bad investment. So we call it shift left in our own business. How can I get closer and closer to the source of problem definition? This requires a deeper understanding of their business and the technology. And the final transformation is, as always, people. So we are running a very, very significant investment in our people called Talent Next. It's a digitally enabled platform for reskilling and fully gamified. We run hackathons. People collect points. They get into a bus to go to the office. They can play the game, and that will continue to be the preferred mode of reskilling people. Of course, well begun is half done, but bad news is only half done. We have a long way to go, because remember, the world is not standing still. Every day, new technologies are coming out. We talked about the change in the way we are engaging with customers. We are engaging through design workshops, hackathons, POCs, solution studios. We talked about Next Labs. Gone are the days where the client would send you a requirements document or an RFP and say, give me a bid. That happens, but that happens more for legacy IT, not so much for new IT. And all the money and the growth and investment is in the new IT. So this is kind of the new way of doing business. We had to learn it. We are still learning it. We are still teaching it to our field force. Actually, we are even teaching it to our clients, because they are also used to dealing in a different way. Small example of a design workshop. You can see agile workspaces. This whole floor is an agile workspace. The reason is very simple. You have to be able to create a quick prototype. We have AI-enabled solutions that help you build software automatically. Before you even leave the design studio, you can actually see what your wireframe turned into a HTML page will look like. We'll show a small video now that will actually give you a sense of what that looks like. We continue to invest in capabilities across the spectrum, from our labs to the platforms to our people. Tech Council is actually our initiative where we've taken senior people and they are the leading light for us in which areas to invest in. Under them is the whole architects community. Small example of the automation we talked about. So AutoCode.ai is a patented platform that actually automatically generates code from a wireframe. It's computer vision enabled. So you think of being in a room with client and we do the wireframe on a whiteboard of what the consumer will see when they log into the mortgage application page. And typically when we do these design workshops, they're not just with technology people. They're with business, operations, compliance, IT, process. And when all of them come together, it's no longer enough to tell them what it might look like. Actually, if you can visually show it to them before they leave the room, projects get funded faster. So let's see a small video for AutoCode.
At Mphasis Next Labs, we are revolutionizing coding by applying artificial intelligence. Technology is at the core of our DNA, and we are applying technology to help our customers stay ahead of the curve.
Just a small example of what technology can do, right? While we thought if you knew how to write code, you're safe, you can see it's no longer enough. You need to be able to know how to apply it. So I think with that, I hope I gave you a little bit of a glimpse of the things that we're working on. Very, very excited to be here. And it's my pleasure now to invite Honorable Minister to share a few words with us.
Thank you, Nitin. Jayesh Garu, Nitin, Shrikant, Deepa and the rest of the team, Setu and the rest of the team of Mphasis. Thanks to friends from the media. I remember about 3 years ago, in fact, when I had personally attended the Mphasis inaugural here, another location, but I was told we'd be growing, but I never expected that you would grow this fast. Started with about 250 people, now you've more than I think grown by 5 times now, nearly 5 times, three times, and growing faster. So congratulations on all the growth, all the success, and that was amazing. I was worried for a minute that you'd put a lot of coders out of their jobs, but thank you for clarifying that. End of the day, you'd still need them. Also liked what you said about your T-shaped strategy, because we have a very similar strategy, T-shaped strategy, but our T is for Telangana. So obviously, how do we put T back in IT, like you said? How do we put IT in our case is India and Telangana? So obviously, how do we put T at the center stage of India? That's what we've been trying to do for the last 4.5 years, and I believe we've succeeded reasonably well. Because of thanks largely to corporations like yours, our IT exports have been growing at a much brisker pace than the Indian national average, also more than Bangalore for the last 5 years. But we have a lot more ground to cover though. For instance, when you pointed out about the growing demands of customers, and you also mentioned hyper-personalization, I think that is one of the things we all endorse very strongly, because not only being in government or being in the industry, being a customer yourself, today every customer, including us, including each of us in our own individual right, want content, want a certain amount of service, a certain service level from any vendor. It could be an IT services company, or it could be any vendor for that matter. We are very, very demanding customers. So I understand exactly what you're saying. But I think we have some initiatives which might help Mphasis grow more and grow stronger in Hyderabad and in Telangana. One of the things we talked about before we walked onto the stage here, was how Hyderabad's talent pool is really driving the growth of companies like Mphasis. We would like to build on that, Nitin, and we would like to also offer a program through TASK, where Mphasis can work with the local talented engineering colleges, the local student pool, and see how we can tailor make something for you so that you could possibly establish your next labs here, and see how we can get you to do more research, more development right here. With all the restrictions in the United States, with all that is happening elsewhere in the world, I think a lot of Indian youngsters today are looking at brighter opportunities back home. And that's where Hyderabad today stands a great chance, because of the talent pool, because of the very progressive policies of the government. We have a great chance to actually make our presence felt here. The other thing I also wanted to mention quickly, I know you're focused on analytics, and you've created a cognitive hub here. We look forward to more. Say you mentioned AI, you mentioned a lot of emerging technologies. We look forward to seeing more of that, and I also saw that you mentioned your Sparkle labs. We also have a robust innovation program here. We look forward to partnering with Sparkle. We also look forward to working with you, engaging with you in taking Mphasis to places in Hyderabad, in Telangana, where we could work strongly, we could work closely, and get your business up and keep that curve going up. I saw that amazing curve going up, plus 3.3 you put out. And you were kind enough also to tell us you only joined a quarter later. So congratulations on all the success. And I hope it's onwards and upwards from here. And I do hope also that Mphasis at some point of time in Hyderabad will come and talk to us about your own campus. Thank you, and good luck. All the best.
So our first center was about 250 to 60 seats. We exceeded that about 3 months ago, and we've added another 500 seats, as we speak. So if past history is